Hey, hello everybody. Welcome to a new week of the course. This is a pre-recorded course due to the circumstances for this week. I appreciate you understanding, and I appreciate the messages that I've received from everyone, so thank you. So this week we're going to learn about develop the data model. This is module 4. So at this point in week 3 recap, your job was to go out and design a data model. It looks like this, but definitely a lot better. And last week's lesson was just learn how to do it. But this week we're going to take it an inch step further. So what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to forward engineer the model. So there's two terms that are interesting to know. And actually, I'm going to write these down because they're pretty good terms to understand. So let me pull up my document here. Here we go, new items. All right. Get so used to using Google. All right, so we have two terms. We have reverse engineering. And we have forward engineering. So these two terms mean basically the difference. So forward engineering is being able to take a diagram that you create and produce source code out of it. And then taking that source code and applying it two different manners. We could connect it directly to the database and set it up that way, which is one way. But having that source code is very important because, as I mentioned before, it is easy to make changes, produce the new source code, maybe use, like if you have a team, like I had when I worked at my previous place, what I would do is, it would, like I said, it was like an orchestra. We would review the changes such as this. If someone came to me and said, hey, you know what, I want to add country, and this country's here, we reviewed it and said, okay, it fits our platform. I applied it, I produced the code, and then I took that snippet and I took that code and sent it off to the developer, and then he or she would then apply it to the environment. But the important thing is it's in our total design map that allows us to be able to have a copy of what the environment looks like. So there's no surprises. So what we're going to do here is we're basically going to do that today. We're going to do forward engineering. Now what reverse engineering is, if you have an existing database, so let's say that you have, for example, let me connect to a database I have out here. So let's say, is it my wine one? This is the one, let's see. Yeah, so this is a good one. So, well, this has changed since, but anyways, as you see here, I have this selection, but if I didn't have, I have inventory wines. These are bad naming conventions, whatever. It was just to play around with. There's the other environment somewhere else. But the thing is, I could do a reverse engineering. So what I could do is I could take the database, and what I could do is I could produce the same thing here with this diagram. It will allow me to produce that same environment with that information, which is, you know, it's helpful to have that. So, like, let's say, let me find something a little bit more robust than that, like my guitar shop, I think is a good one. All right, so this is a good one. So if I want to reverse engineer this, what I could do is I could come out here, come over here, I could click on this, I could do reverse engineer, and it'll say where you want to connect to. So that was Landshark. So I want to connect to Landshark, I'd hit continue. It's retrieving the information, the database information. So here what I'm going to do is, and hopefully you guys can see this, it is kind of small because I am on a large screen. Let me actually change the depth of this because let me pause this screen. So I made it a lot larger so that you can see it better. So that database was the guitar shop. So this is a reverse engineer. I would again hit continue. It's going to retrieve all my information for me. It's fetching it, building it, and then I'll hit continue. And so as you see here, it has different objects. So it has tables, it has routines, and it has triggers. Now these are things that we have not talked about in this class, which is not a problem. So we'll again click execute and hit continue. And you see here, it says you have 7 tables, 2 routines, to your shop, hit close. And now all of a sudden, look at this. I have a diagram right here, just like that. So now I have this diagram, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna save it, if I can. Let's forward engineer script. So we don't want to do that. Let's just save it for now. I could change it. Maybe I can't change it. It's fine. All right. What we're gonna do is we're gonna use this in a moment here. Oops. All right. So there's our tables there. Cool. All right. Cool. So as you see here, we have this environment that's pretty robust. So we can move it around if we want to, you know, if we want to make it look a little cleaner. That could be tough. You could also, what you could do is when you want to move multiple things. So if I want to move this together, I could highlight it and I could just kind of move it up like that. And then if I want to move these guys down, which I do, I can move it like this, trying to make it straight. I don't have this steady as up. Those guys were connected. And then I could take this like this. There you go. And then we probably want to move these guys over further like this. Yeah, to me this looks a little cleaner. It helps if you have a sturdy hand. Mine's gotten a little shaky. So I don't want those guys to be connected anymore. So I'll just go like this, separate it out a little bit. These guys right here. So you could get my gist there. You could make all the changes you want. All right, there you go. So anyways, we have this environment. I'll save that. Save model. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to push it over to my local environment. So just to show you, I don't have it out there. So if I go here and go to my database, and I'm going to teach you guys how to set up your own local environment as well. We have an environment that I was going to set up here at Point Park for you guys to use, but for some reason I'm having trouble connecting to the environment even with my account. So we're just going to do it a different way. So if I connect to my local environment, yeah, typically it will work. All right, what's going on here? So enter a password in, save it. I recommend save it so you don't have to enter it in again. So as you see here, I just have an inventory table, nothing that matches what we're looking for in a system. So it does not exist. So what we'll do here is we'll come out here, back out to our diagrams. So this would be the forward engineering. So forward engineering is when you have a schema, that's what it's called. You can take that schema and it'll can produce some source code, and we want to save that code as well. But then we'll take that code and we'll apply it to our environment. So anyways, oh, did I lose my diagram? It's right there. Why is it not saved? Save model as. So let me save it on my downloads for a second. Guitar shot. And let's close it. There it is. I just wanted to show up there. All right, cool. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click database and do forward engineering. And I'm going to choose my local environment, and it'll ask you for password here in a minute. What's going on my desk? All right, so let's hit continue. You can skip all this information here. Just make sure you have to include model attached scripts. It's going to have all these scripts here. We're going to hit continue. Now here's the code that we want to save. So this is good stuff, because having this code allows you to save it into a repository somewhere, and we'll talk about that in a minute as well. So this is a good thing to have. So I'm going to save to file, and I will just call it Guitar Shop Model version 1. The reason I did the version, so let's say that Joe Schmo in your group says, hey, you know what, we want to add to Guitar Shop, we want to add another products or another category. So we save it and then we update it to this repository, and then this repository keeps all the different versions, so if we need to roll back to a previous version, we can, in case there's something that doesn't work. So that's one good reason. So hit continue, executes it, close. Now if I go over to my local connection and I do a refresh, you see I have Guitar Shop. I have my tables as described. I have addresses, I got columns, I got administrators. So everything connects the way it's supposed to connect, because that's the way that we built it. So that is what I want you to, that's what your assignment is going to be this week, is take your model that you created in module 3. You are going to forward engineer it, which will produce a schema like this. You'll also have that source code, which takes me to the next step. So you're going to need a GitHub account. Now, I'm not going to teach you all the commands and all that stuff with GitHub, because right now it's kind of irrelevant to what we're trying to do. We just need a repository to store our information. I think we could get away with that. So you just go to github.com. That's my account right there with the PPU for Point Park University. So what you'll do is, let's go into incognito mode, or I don't know what it is. I could come out to GitHub, and I hate when it tries to search it. So what you're going to do is you're going to come here and do sign up. You're going to create a username, your email address, maybe something, make it equivalent to your Point Park. It'll make it easier. And then whatever your password is. That'll set up your account. Once you have your account set up, you'll need to build a repository. So what we'll do is you'll click the plus up here, and actually I'm showing you something that doesn't even exist. I'm on the other screen. Oh my God, I just realized that. So let me go back and revisit what I just said. Hopefully you've seen all of what I just showed you, because I just realized that you can't see my screen. So let's do this again. So we did GitHub. This is what you would normally see. So once you come on here, you'll click sign up. You'll enter a username, email, use your Point Park email, password, creates an account. Okay. Once you have an account, you'll click the plus up here. That's one way, and choose new repository. It'll have your name, whatever your username is, and so I'll just call this MBA 582. Okay, and you can make it public or private. Private just means that no one can see except you. I'm going to make it public. I'm going to add a Readme file. You won't have this right here. This is something I have set up to do something that has nothing to do with this. So I'm going to click create repository. All right, cool. So now we have this repository. So what I want you to do is to add your file. Now, there's a more proper way of doing this through usually what I do is I use this guy here. I'll show you in a second. So I'll use this to connect to it, but through command line. But for this class, I'm not going to go in that. So actually, I'm going to rename this right here, and I'll just call it MBA 582, and then I'll put database architecture designs. There we go. And you could do an update here and say update it the heading on the repository, and it keeps a history of all this stuff. I'll just commit my change. Boom, it's there. All right, so now what you'll do is you'll upload your file, your code, your script, and your MDB file as well. So what does all that mean? Well, go into 582, add file. So you would upload your file. So let's see if it allows me to choose files, or you could drag and drop. So for example, Guitar Shop was one of them, and the MWB, which is the design file. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna click this and this and click open. And what it's gonna do is gonna add both those files for me. And I'll come down here and say, edit source code file from Ford Engineering and the design model, just like that. You'll click commit changes. It processes your files, and ta-da, you have code. You could click on this version history thing here, and this will list all the source code here. And so that is very important. Reason it's important is because I'm going to take that code and I'm apply it to my system, make sure it works. And if it works and I can see how everything works, then I know that you accomplished week 4, which is developing the data model. We will learn more stuff. We'll add data to our model eventually. We'll learn how to query information. But this is a good fundamental way of doing that. So those are 2 things I showed you. Well, 3 things. I showed you how to reverse engineer. I showed you how to forward engineering. We're only doing forward engineering this week. I showed you how to connect and set up the model. I showed you how to set up a repository in GitHub and get all that information up and running. Last thing I did not show you, and I do have a link out there for this week, is I don't have this. It's not my link, but it'll help. It's not my video, but you'll go up to this video. There's a link in the agenda for this week, and this will walk you through how to install it on Mac OS X. The instructions are exactly the same if you're using a Windows. Your file is just going to be different. Mac, you're using a DMG file. Windows, you're using probably an exe or an MSI file. It'll be what is available to download automatically. You won't have to make that decision. That will be part of your assignment. Once you set that up, what will happen here is you'll get, for example, it'll be different if you're using a PC, but like on the Mac, I have this environment up and running here. I could come in MySQL. It'll show me my instances up and running. You'll have the same thing whether you're using a Mac or a PC. You'll have a preference. Instead of system preferences, it's under system files or something like that on the Mac, or I mean on the PC. There's a directory you'll go to. But if you have problems, just reach out to me. But it'll have you up and running before you know it. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. So if you have questions on that, let me know. That'll be how you connect to your environment. If you have problems, set up an appointment with me. My appointments are available on Thursdays from 4 to 5:55 p.m. basically, moving forward. So that is the lecture this week / lab. It's very light based off the circumstances. It works for me, but there was not much to go through this week anyways, honestly, on developing the data model. This is the key because we pretty much developed it last week. So if you have any questions, reach out to me. This is your assignment for this week. Pretty straightforward. Thanks for watching. Have a good week.